Welcome everybody to the On Track video cast. Today I have a very exciting guest and something quite different than what we're used to. Her name is Corina Sahlin. She is a transformative life coach in feminine power. She's passionate about helping women create healthy balance in their lives, connect to their own needs and desires. She is the head honcho at Marblemount Homestead and is an expert in making bread, sauerkraut, cheese, beer, and chocolate, all things that I think we all love. She holds online courses in pretty much everything, it seems like, that's of homesteadish type things. She has an online chicken raising course, which I'm planning to take, a knitting course, cheese making course, and even a fermenting course, which is why she is here talking to us today. So welcome, Corina. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
And for our watchers, she's in her car because Corina lives out in the mountains. We first tried it from her kitchen and it was just not good reception. So she suggested that she drive off to her good Wi-Fi area and do it in her car. So that's why she's in her vehicle.
I apologize. I don't look around too closely. I have 3 children. There's probably a mess in the car.
You can't see anything.
I wish you could see the mountains around me here. I could move the computer a little bit, but it is a beautiful place where I'm parked.
Yeah, and where are you exactly?
So it's Marblemount, Washington, and that is 2 hours northeast of Seattle, and very close to the Canadian border.
Yeah,
so
kind of close to us.
We're really close to Canada.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, if you have noticed my accent, I'm German, so I speak a little funny, so that's why.
It's just slight though, hey? Your German accent. It's quite cute, actually. I like it. So tell me first about your coaching in feminine power, because I love that. So tell me all about that. How did you do that? How did you get into it?
Yes, how did I get into it? So 8 years ago, I'm going to look at you. I want to look at the people so they can see me, but I'm going to look at your face. So 8 years ago, I was introduced to a 7-week course of feminine power. And it really spoke to me because it talked a lot about how to transform old patterns, how to actually break through the glass ceiling of the patterns you keep creating in your life. And at that time, I was pretty miserable and burned out. And so I took the 7-week course, changed my life. And then I did the mastery course, which is a 9-month program. And then I did the leadership course. And then I did the coaching course to be a coach in it. Wow. So the work is really deep. It's not therapy, talk therapy, which is wonderful too. Don't get me wrong. I've done lots of years of that. Yeah. But the feminine power coaching is very much about really looking at the subconscious beliefs that make you show up in a way in the world that has been creating pain for you or frustration for you, or you just can't break through it. And with the feminine power system, we look at what are your false beliefs? What do you believe about yourself? I'm not good enough. I'm not wanted. I'm invisible, whatever it is. And then we look at how do you show up towards yourself inside of this false belief? How do you show up with others inside of this false belief? And how do you show up with the greater field of life inside of that false belief? And then I basically help people really evolve that, name it, evolve those patterns, and then show up a different way and have a path of practice to actually really evolve the old pattern once and for all, like on a deep level.
So, because it's feminine power, is this something that's the wounded female that we're just still seeing in society that a lot of us don't recognize as being our feminine, the wounded feminine? Is that a good way to put it?
It's a part of it, the wounding. And what you're speaking to, I think, is the victimization.
Yes.
So many of us are like, life is happening to me, or they are doing this to me, or I just, we have stories like, I just can't evolve, or, I can't have a partner, I can't be happy, whatever it might be. And so we're victimized. There's no access to power. How are you going to change your life? And so the feminine power aspect is very much about sourcing, taking 100% responsibility, sourcing the power within you instead of looking outside of you to have that and get it from from a lover, from your parent, which is probably not going to happen, from your kids. I'm such a better mother ever since I've done this work because I don't put that stuff on my children.
Mm-hmm. So is there a difference between, is it more so that females feel these things than men do? Is that why it's a feminine thing?
I could answer this many different ways, I think. So the feminine, in the bigger picture, the reason it's feminine power is because, we women, in order to level the playing field, here we are, we can become presidents if we want to. That couldn't have happened 100 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So in order to level the playing field, we had to kind of do the masculine way, goal setting, very masculine, like this is my list now, and I'm setting the goals, I'm putting on the pantsuit, and I'm in there, and I'm pushing. I'm, the masculine, rah, rah, rah. The new way of sourcing power is a new way of feminine power, which is very much about intuition, listening to our bodies, listening to our feelings. What are your deepest desires? What is it you're yearning for? And then these things lie in our bodies. We can't figure this out in our mind. It's about the deepest yearnings we hold, all of us. And you might not know what it is, but you have a sense of it.
Yeah, definitely.
And so accessing that and having a guide to access these deeper yearnings and become into an empowered relationship with them and with yourself, with others, and with a greater field of life, whatever you want to call that force out there, changes everything in a very dramatic and actually pretty fast way. It can happen fast. That's the beauty. I love that. It's so efficient.
We all want fast. We all want fast transformation these days.
I've done years of talk therapy. I've done years of alternative stuff, and it's great. But ever since I started the feminine power work, that's when things like, and look at what I have created an amazing life. I would have never thought I would be that visible and that successful. And that, it's like, wow, I look at my life, I'm like, wow, unrecognizable.
Yeah. And it's such a sad thing that women do have to struggle so much. They don't realize that they don't have to, basically, right? And it is, I think we had to come so far in the feminine movement, like you said, putting the pants on, being that masculine, thinking that that's what we had to do in order to create equality, when now we've lost that other side. And I meet women on a daily basis that don't know how to access that anymore, and they're not happy, and they don't know why. And it's because they've come so far away from who they really are and what is at their essence of being a woman.
Yes. And you're speaking to as well, and I love that you're saying that. You're speaking also to, we don't have enough support. We do not have enough support. And this is why I love what you do. I love what you do because you're bringing the community together. You are creating a place where women can be, interact and support each other in a healthy way. And we need that. That whole Lone Ranger sacrificing ourselves, being victimized, over, man.
Over.
Over. Doesn't work anymore.
No, it doesn't. No. And it's about finding, getting empowered to make the changes necessary.
Yes. And you know what? The Dalai Lama actually said, he said, it's the Western woman who will save the world, because we have the luxury for the first time in human history. If you think about it, it's all been about caregiving and caretaking. Now we women have the luxury to ask ourselves these questions. What am I here to do? What is my purpose? What are my deepest desires? It was all about, we had to caregive and caretake everyone. And this is a very new era. And so we need to work with the masculine. I'm not just saying it's all about women. We need to work with the masculine, right?
Well, exactly. Absolutely. About finding the balance between the two, really. Yeah. And however that looks to you, we get in trouble when we try to be one or the other, right? It's balancing that needs to happen. So with your homesteading business, how does this connect with your feminine power, basically, and what you do?
If I hadn't done the feminine power work, I wouldn't have what I have now. And just the context for your tribe there.
Yeah.
Actually, we live in the wilderness, 5.5 acres of beautiful land, and we homestead, which means we raise goats and chickens and ducks. We have 3 kids. We homeschooled them for their whole lives, and now they're in public school.
Oh, oh no.
I know. So we started by people coming to our homestead, and we teach classes on cheese making and all kinds of homesteading classes, fermentation.
So can I just ask you, Corina, did you learn all of the homesteading stuff growing up in Germany, or was this just something that you came upon in your relationship with your husband, and you guys just decided, hey, let's start cheese making?
Great question. What a great question. When I grew up in Germany, Germans, there's so much more from scratch, more self-sufficiency in Germany than there was here. Well, at least at that time. So I have always yearned to be in nature and to be self-sufficient. It's always been in my blood. I've always wanted to. My mother didn't teach me anything. She didn't teach me how to cook or anything. So I basically listened to the deeper yearning, but for a long time said, I can't do that. I can't do that. I don't have the money for land. I don't have the skill. I'm not good enough. And then when I did the work and started our homestead and just did the work there, things just evolved where I wanted to share. So people came to our homestead to take classes. And then that evolved into online teaching. I have people from all over the world, which is crazy. All over the world, like thousands of people. I'm like, it's like a movement.
Yeah.
I love that. So, and the homesteading, we lead retreats at the homestead where people come and learn. And so I think my coaching work, whenever you interact with me, it'll always be deep. And so that always comes in too.
You're right. So someone's coming to make cheese. Little do they know they're going to get a little bit of life coaching in there as well, right?
That's what you signed up for.
I love it. It's my kind of retreat.
I know, right? Cheese and like look at your stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, people come to me because they think I'm just this weight that I'm going to help them lose weight, and then the next thing they know, they're crying. They're talking about their life. I'm asking about their husband, their job, and they're like, "What does this have to do with my weight?" I'm like, everything.
Everything. It's so interrelated.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to answer your question from a different angle too. I think it's all about health, right? It's emotional health. It's growing your own food fresh from scratch, preparing your own food, spending time in the garden with your loved ones. It's like this is all about sanity and health and deep nurturing.
Yeah. And I feel like we all have that desire to do that, the homesteading. I think some of us that are, living in the city and maybe we don't realize it, but I feel like it's part of us. Like it's primal, I think is what the word I'm looking. It's very primal.
It is primal. And it's funny because my husband teaches wilderness skills. So we're doing retreats together where he does all that, the primal, like the bow making and the tracking.
Oh, cool.
Shelter making and the primitive fire making. So it's all just such a beautiful package of all these interrelated pieces of health and really sustainability.
Yeah, I was going to say, if the world goes to hell in a handbasket, if they came to you guys, they would know how to be self-sufficient.
Yeah, and I don't want to be a prepper and all like, but where the world is going now, it's not sustainable. And
I
people
know
that on some level. So people do want to learn some skills. I think we're yearning. We know things are not right.
I agree completely. We're getting so far away from our primal core it's starting here. There's a movement where it's coming back around and all these things are coming out like fermenting and bone broth and paleo and all of these things that are all becoming so mainstream, which is funny, but it's because it relates to us. We can relate to it. It's primal. Yeah.
Well, and I think it's when it comes to our children, right? It's like this is where people start going, oh my God, my kid just spent hours and hours in front of a device. This is not right. And they know it's not right. And so I think a lot of times we don't want to change when it's ourselves, but when it's our children, then it's like, okay, things need to change.
Things need to change. Yeah. Yeah. We actually I just moved my family out to property, out of the city onto an acre of property, which is why I'm going to take your chicken raising course because I would like chickens. I have no clue what I'm doing.
So much easier than you might think.
Okay, good. So this month in the On Track program, we are doing the topic of the month is basically the homesteading, but a lot on fermentation because it is super popular. I know for myself that it's very beneficial. It's great for so many different things. And I want you to tell us about the art of fermentation. And well, we can start with what's your favorite?
Ooh, I'm German, right?
Yes.
Sauerkraut.
Oh,
Sauerkraut.
okay.
Sauerkraut.
That's
Love sauerkraut.
same.
I love it all. I
Yeah.
love it all. I mean, look at it. Even in my car, look at what I brought. I brought some kombucha that it's a second ferment kombucha with mango.
Yeah.
I love it all. Cheese, of course. Oh, I'm a cheesemaker. I'm an artisan cheesemaker.
Oh, wow.
Bread, my fermented bread. Oh, I'm salivating just thinking about it. I love it all.
You love it all. So if somebody's totally new to this, which one would you suggest that would be easiest to start with? Because I think that when you go online, it can be super overwhelming. I remember even trying to thinking about making sauerkraut, and it took me months because I was too overwhelmed by everything I was reading that I just didn't even try. And then finally I got a book from the library and I did it. Some of it worked, some of it didn't.
Right. That is so interesting because I would have said start with sauerkraut.
Yeah.
This is why I did my online course on fermentation, because it's so, like you say, it's totally overwhelming. Like, where do you start? What do? You have to read all the. So sauerkraut is actually pretty easy if you have the right steps.
Yes.
So start with that.
Start with that. So do you need special equipment to make sauerkraut? Because I did mine in a mason jar and some of it did not work out very well. So
yeah. No. Here's the thing. No. A lot of people think, oh, you need to buy expensive airlocks or expensive.
Yes.
No, you don't.
Okay.
No. So wide mouth mason jar.
Okay.
The right kind of salt. And then you need to make sure it's tamped down. And I have, all the directions in the course, and I can tell you now, but you just have to keep the air out of it. So you stamp it down, make sure it's submerged by the brine that will be created when you add the salt, and you kind of push it down with I don't know, some people stomp on it with their feet, but I wouldn't recommend it. But you can use I use like a potato masher. Just mash the cabbage down. It will create brine, its own brine with the salt. You keep it submerged. You make sure it's at the right temperature, and you wait a week, and there you go.
That's it.
No.
1 week?
I don't know what you did, and we could problem solve. But, if you have the right steps, it really is easy.
I found, so my problem was stuff would float up. And so I tried like the cabbage leaf. For those of you who haven't done it, one of the techniques is using an actual big cabbage leaf to tuck all the shredded cabbage underneath the brine. So because it'll float if it's not tucked in or weighted down. I found a lot of my stuff was still floating up, and then it would create mold on the top because that's what happens when the air gets it.
I have the solution for you.
Okay.
You want to hear it?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so first what I should say, when I make sauerkraut, I make it in a big, it's like 20 gallons at a time, like in a big stoneware crock. But when I do make it just in a mason jar, I take a Ziploc bag, fill that with water or salted brine, and then you put that on top of your mason jar. You just put the bag in it to weigh it down. The water will weigh it down.
Yeah.
And that's the way to do it, because then, it will spread out evenly over the top. It will weigh everything down, and you won't miss any little stray pieces.
Right.
It works great.
Awesome. I'm doing it. Yeah.
Do it.
So the longer you keep it on your shelf for, does it create more of the good bacteria in it?
No. So once it's done, so let's say, depending on the warmth of your house, right? It's like a week to 14 days, depending on how warm your house is. Okay. Best temperature for kraut is 65 degrees. Room temperature is fine. Yeah. And once it's done bubbling, done fermenting, it'll be done. Okay. And then it will have all the good probiotics, all the health benefits, all that stuff. and then you have to refrigerate it or put it in a cold location. Otherwise, it'll spoil.
Okay. And so tell me about the benefits of sauerkraut then, or just in general, the fermentation. Why do we want to ferment? Why do we want to do that? What's it good for?
Why do we want to do that? Because it's so good for you. I mean, you guys have probably all heard about gut health, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what everyone talks about now. Gut health. So important. So important.
Yeah, I talk a lot about it to my members.
Yeah. So people don't think I'm weird when I say gut health, right?
Yeah.
You want to colonize your intestines with good bacteria. And sauerkraut and fermented foods in general are very beneficial for the gut health because it gives you all those wonderful probiotics that will then colonize your gut and help your immunity, help your digestion. I mean, you probably know all this stuff, right? It's so great for your digestion. And with fermented food, the cool thing about it is that you start with one food, and then after it gets fermented, you have a totally different product. So it's pre-digested, and it's easy to digest because it is broken down already. The vitamin content is higher of fermented foods because this alchemy happens, which is so amazing. Like some foods have way higher vitamin B content after it's fermented. Inflammation. It reduces inflammation in your gut. Yeah. Which we all know about inflammation, don't we?
Yes.
It's such a big problem for so many things.
So many, yeah.
Boosts your immunity. Your immune system gets boosted by having the probiotics and having all those beneficial vitamins and enzymes and minerals in your system. Because there's one thing I want to say, with fermented foods, like even if you go to the store and you buy sauerkraut, let's say.
Yeah.
A lot of times that stuff is actually pasteurized. So it actually doesn't have all the good stuff in it anymore. Did you know that? Like, this is one reason to make that stuff at home.
Yeah, because a lot of people, they think, I'm just going to go buy it from the grocery store. And I always tell them, if it's not coming from from the refrigeration section, it ain't good. And even then, would you say that homemade is going to be better than if you were to buy it, even if it is it's raw, it's fermented, in the fridge section? Is it still going to have more bacteria count if you do it at home?
You know what? I personally think it's better to do stuff at home anyway because it's fresh. It won't sit on the shelf for you don't know how long it sits on the shelf. You have total control over what goes in it. I want all my food to be organic.
Yeah.
I sometimes can put fun little things like fennel seeds or caraway seeds in my sauerkraut. You don't get that when you buy it, so you have way more control over the freshness and the quality of the produce you use. And that's not to say if you can't make it at home, still do go and buy the refrigerated stuff. If you can't make it, it's still going to be beneficial. I just am on the bandwagon of self-sufficiency here.
Yes. And it's pretty easy, is it not? Like, to make sauerkraut, how long would it take?
In preparation time?
Yeah.
That's for 1 quart of sauerkraut, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
If you have a Cuisinart and you don't chop it up by hand, 7 minutes maybe.
Yeah. So fast.
I can't do it. It takes too much time. I'm like, no. Kombucha, you boil the water, you put the tea bags in, you wait till it cools. You put the sugar in, you wait. It's really not that much.
So let's talk about kombucha, because that's so popular now and people would much rather have the kombucha drink than the sauerkraut, I think, until they adapt to the taste of sauerkraut. I think once you get used to it, it's best. Yes, that looks delicious.
Yeah. You know what? The kombucha is so easy to make. And you know what? I have a little list here where I did some research on money, how much you actually save. You save so much. For example, here it is. If you buy store-bought kombucha, I mean, how much do you pay for a bottle, right? $4?
Yeah, $4 or $5.
Like chia kombucha, all the fancy flavors, If you make your own, it's the cost of your tea bags and the sugar. And the SCOBY will keep growing itself. So it is 30 cents. I don't know, it's 30 cents a bottle. So much cheaper.
Oh, that's so cheap. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And you can get so creative with it too. Hey, about all the different kinds. My question on kombucha, I made it for about a month. I did find that some of them went too vinegary tasting. I left them sitting too long. And I read somewhere that meant that it didn't contain as much bacteria anymore.
because what happens was that the SCOBY, that weird looking mushroom thing, kind of weird.
Yeah, for those that don't know what that is, when you make kombucha, you get, I don't even know what it is. What is that thing?
It's like this round disc, and it's like some people say it's a mushroom and a bacteria, but basically what it does, it consumes the sugars and the tannins in the black tea, and then it releases all those wonderful probiotics into that drink. Now, if you let it sit too long, it'll be vinegary because all the sugar will have been consumed, and then it turns into vinegary, not so much like, yucky. So
does it contain the same amount of probiotics?
I don't know that.
Yeah, okay.
What I think is probably not, because the longer you go, it will lose that on the shelf life.
Okay.
So what I would recommend next time you do it, after, let's say, a week, insert a straw into the liquid and just kind of pull some out and then taste it and see if it's too sweet. Let it go a little longer. And then if you like it, just drink it right then, or do a second ferment. Have you ever done a second ferment?
Yep, I have. Yeah, with the fruits or, yep.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it is very good.
Yeah. And, by the way, I want to say too, benefit, you asked about benefit, just came to me. I need to just smell my kombucha to get a brain boost. Mental health.
Yeah.
There have been studies, and I have it here in my notes, but there's actually real legit studies, not just hippies saying, oh yeah, kombucha is good for you, that probiotics and the probiotics contained in fermented foods boosts your mental health, can actually help with depression.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of scientific stuff out there, you guys, that if you want to really be nerdy about it and like look at all the scientific research, more and more now, research is coming out about the benefits.
So how much should somebody eat? Like, how much sauerkraut do you eat in a day? Out of curiosity, Corina, how much do you eat?
You know what? I don't have any right now, honestly. I don't have any right now. I have some in my fridge from last year, and I'm a little worried about trying it, but it tastes, it smells very strong, but it still smells good. I usually, really, they say a spoonful of sauerkraut, literally one spoonful will be enough per day. One spoonful. So that's when I'm going to make some more, because I go through phases. I don't eat it every day. And then I'm like, I have other stuff. I had some stuff going on in my family and friends dying and all kinds of bad stuff. So I did not make sauerkraut. I made kombucha instead. So 1 tablespoon of sauerkraut as a condiment. Don't heat it up, because that's going to then lose the beneficial probiotics. It'll still have all the vitamin C. It'll still be healthy. But in the summer, when I have fresh cabbage available, I eat every day. I eat sauerkraut every single day.
Yeah.
I like the taste of it.
I love it too. I like beet kraut. That's one of my favorite.
Yeah, I have a recipe in my course, actually, where you do use beets. You can use carrots too to put in there. Shred some carrots in there.
Yeah, can't you pretty much ferment any vegetable or fruit?
Some of them are easier than others.
Okay.
So, for example, the brassicas are great. They're super easy. Cauliflower, there's turnips that are easy to do. The foods that are easiest to do is when you add the salt and you bruise things in the fermentation process, they release their own brine. That's the best. Okay. Other stuff can be a little harder, where you have to be a little bit more anal and really make sure you just watch for any spoilage, or it just takes more. But that's why I'm saying start with cabbage, start with sauerkraut.
Yeah. So in the online fermentation course, let's discuss that, because I'm really excited to offer this to my members. What will they be learning in this course?
They will be learning everything about fermentation. So, like now, and I could read it all of my notes here. The benefits. There's more benefits too, you guys. Anyway, immunity, infection. Anyway, so I will teach all that stuff, the benefits of the fermentation. I will teach how to make sauerkraut in big batches and a small batch if you don't have a big old crock like I do. I'm going to teach kombucha, how to do that, and how to do the second ferment with a fizzy, like the fruit and the ginger and salivating. I'm going to teach how to make beet kvass, which is a very very amazing liver tonic and blood cleanser for the ones of us who have some liver issues, apparently.
Yeah.
So beet kvass is a drink, really good. I love it. I'm going to teach how to make Greek yogurt.
Oh, great.
Because yogurt, oh man, so easy, you guys. Do you know how much money you can save making your own yogurt? A lot.
Wow.
And then the last thing I'm going to teach, which that's actually, I'm so excited about that, is fermented bread, which sounds gross. But if you can picture a boutique artisan loaf of bread, like one of those things you pay $7 for at the store.
Yeah.
That I teach people how to make. And then people who cannot eat bread because they can't do gluten have freaked out at me because they can eat that one. Because yes. If you're sensitive to gluten, you might be able to eat my bread because it's pre-fermented. Wow. And that is, it's no need. You don't have to knead it. It's so easy and so good. I love it.
I'm excited. That's great. I did try the beet kvass.
Tell me about that.
I did try that a couple of times. And then it ended up sitting in I was doing it every day, and then it sat there for a while in my fridge. And then I got nervous and thought, what if it's gone bad? And so I ended up throwing it out because it did taste like it was more, more vinegary again, I think. This was a long time ago. But I did post how to do it even in my website because that was easy. That's only a couple days, isn't it?
It's only 3 days.
Yeah.
And, there are studies on that too, on beet kvass. In Europe, in Russia, and the Ukraine, and Germany too, they use it as the anti-cancer food.
Oh, you're kidding.
It is so powerful. They've done studies there because of all it's a blood tonifier, a blood purifier, a liver cleanser, and it's so easy to make. It is an acquired taste, I have to say. I warn about it in my course because some people, it's tangy, it's salty, it's earthy.
Yeah. I told people that it tastes like what is in it. It tastes like salty beet water.
Gorgeous. I have a picture.
It is gorgeous.
Right? In a wine glass, and I'm holding up the beet kvass, and the sun shines in it, and it's beautiful. It's ruby red. I actually really like the taste of it.
I didn't mind it at all, especially because you just do a shot, right? Like you just little shot glass. I was taking shots before I'd go to bed at night, and I thought it was good.
You know, and it's so good for you. It's so good for you. And
so
again,
for you.
This is what I'm saying. It's easy. I want people to be empowered by this, and that's what I teach in my cheese making too. You can be totally nerdy and totally dorking out on this stuff and get scientific and be all, I need to have scientific equipment and fancy stuff. But you don't. People have been doing this for centuries, thousands of years. You don't need fancy stuff. It doesn't take long to do it. You just need to know the basics, and then you do it, and it's so good for you.
Yeah, I know everyone always asks me, well, what probiotic should I take? Or I'm taking this probiotic. Isn't that good enough? And I tell every single person, eat fermented foods. You're going to give yourself trillions of bacteria rather than millions. And you're going to get different strains of the bacteria that you need.
That's right.
It saves so much money.
You save so much money. Tell me about it. And I have to say, when you make it at home, yourself, if you ferment your own stuff, you have all this control over the ingredients and the freshness. You can put herbs and spices into things that you would never be able to buy.
No.
And then the other thing I wanted to mention too, in terms of why should you make that stuff at home versus buying it, I think it's the best bonding activity with my kids. Like, they help me make sauerkraut. Yeah. They help me put stuff in the kombucha, they help me with the bread, and they love eating it. And I think when you get kids involved in this kind of food prep stuff, then they're gonna try it.
Yeah, right? They do.
Like the sauerkraut, if you give your kids sauerkraut, it's like, I don't want to do that. But if they did it, they shredded it themselves, they're way more willing, in my experience, to actually taste it.
Yeah, and it creates a better relationship with food for your kids, right? So when they're older, they don't run into all the problems that we women have now with our food and our bodies. And it gets them connected to it.
Well, and the beautiful thing about homesteading, I'm excited you got land because I'm telling you, my kids, they're involved in the preparing of the garden beds, in the starting of the seed, in the gardening, in the growing the food, in the harvesting the food, canning the food, fermenting the food. Totally different relationship to food.
Yes, absolutely. And this is something that anybody, the fermentation part of it anyways, is something that anybody can do. Like we said, it doesn't take much time, 10 minutes on your weekend, gives you something to do with your kids, can be done in any kitchen. You can buy the cabbage from your grocery store. So it's cabbage, salt, and water with sauerkraut and a mason jar.
Yeah, mason jar.
And now a plastic bag full of water.
There's other tricks, by the way. You could have put in anyway. There's other tricks you can do about it too. So, and I teach all that stuff in the class. But
yes,
the thing is, what I love to is you have someone to actually help you out. And in my class, actually, I do a private Facebook group. People can ask questions. So you could be just saying, "Hey, Corina, I got mold on there." And then problem solve. Because I think a lot of people, when stuff like that happens, they give up.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's too hard.
Yeah. I had a few go bad and I haven't done it since.
Oh, honey.
I know. Terrible. I'm going to get back into it now. You've inspired me.
Get back into it, because really when it doesn't work out, why would you want to do it again? And this is why I want to just empower people, say it's not that hard. If you have really good instructions, you got to have good instructions and follow them. You're good.
Yeah. So Corina has been nice enough to offer a excellent coupon for all the members of On Track. She off her fermenting course, which I think is regular, what, 39. So she's going to take 20, she's going to give us a 20% off coupon. And you just heard her talk about the course. You get to learn how to make yogurt, sauerkraut, the beet kvass, the kombucha, all the favorites when it ferments. So I highly suggest, if you have any interest in this, take it from the expert, take the course. This is an amazing opportunity. Where can we find you and where can we find the course?
So the course, oh, by the way, the course, it doesn't just have the instructions, but it actually has movies. I made movies in my kitchen for everything I teach. So you can watch me do it, because sometimes reading about it, like, oh, another thing to do.
And that's when I think why I got so overwhelmed to begin with, was I was reading. And I think that watching somebody do it will make a huge difference.
Totally. I'm a visual learner. Like,
me too.
I read, of course, but if I see someone do it, I'm like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah, me too.
So you can go to courses.marblemount-homestead.com, or just go onto my regular website, marblemount-homestead.com. It's all one word, Marblemount, MARBLEMOUNT, homestead.com. And then you can see what we offer there. It's all there.
Awesome.
And then the coupon code, we need to have a code for them. Should we make it Karen? Put the coupon code when you check out, when you buy the course, when you check out, coupon code Karen.
Karen, capital K?
Huh?
Capital K?
Sure. Do you want to do capital K?
Sure. Do it proper. Awesome. So I will link to your website, and it is the fermentation course. Use coupon code Karen with a capital K at checkout, and you can get this amazing woman's course in fermentation and be well on your way to a good digestive system. Yay, which we all need. Like she said, it really does. A good digestive system is the base of all health, basically. Mental health, skin health, gut health, your energy, everything. So it is very, very key. And what a better way to do it? Like, there's no better way to do it than eating yummy sauerkraut and yogurt.
Well, and drinking kombucha and bread. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm weird. I'm scared about the bread because I don't eat bread, but I'm interested for sure.
You could try it. Have a bite and see if it agrees with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a friend who cannot eat bread, and she made my bread for my course, and I got a Facebook message, and she was freaking out. I can eat bread now.
Okay, well, so whoever buys the course, please make the bread and let me know on Facebook, and I'll send it off to Corina too. But if you can tolerate it, because we have a lot of people that are gluten sensitive in the group. So amazing. Let's see. And then
Oh,
maybe somebody can drop off some for me and I'll try it. No, I'll make it. I'll make it. Because if I don't eat it, my kids will eat it.
well, I'm sure they would. I mean, I make 2 loaves at a time and it's gone like that.
Yeah, well, hot bread. That's why I don't actually probably make bread because, God, coming hot out of an oven, I'll eat the whole loaf. I have no control over hot, yummy carbohydrates coming out of an oven. Who
Well,
does?
well, I don't.
Especially you, hot bread, homemade cheese,
Yeah,
like
totally.
having,
Yeah,
oh, yeah, you've got it good. I
I
got to
know.
come to your house for lunch.
Well, yeah, I do that though. It's kind of dorky. Like in my retreats, it's all like, I feel like Martha Stewart. I do it all,
Yeah.
myself. People are like, wow, taste. That's, by the way, I know we're wrapping up here, but another reason to do this at home, to taste.
The taste. So much
Nothing's
better.
like your own stuff, tasting good, that's fresh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ideal? Yeah.
Great. Well, that's a good note to leave it on. So thank you so much. That was amazing. It's lots of insight there. And I, like I said, encourage people to go give it a try. Let me know how it works out. Post the pictures of your fermented foods on the forum. I want to see what you've done. All right. Well, thank you so much, Corina.
Thank you, dear. And thanks, everyone. I hope to see you in the course.
Yes.